I wake at 7 like I always did, move through the house like I always did. But the coffee's only made for one now, and the silence has moved in. Your glasses on the nightstand, still folded, still waiting there. A grocery list in your handwriting, milk and bread and pears. What remains when you are gone? These ordinary things that carry on. The shoes beside the door, the books you meant to read. What remains is everything, and nothing that I need. I'll touch the chip on your coffee mug, the one you'd meant to fix. I press my hand against your pillow where your warmth once lived. The neighbors say it gets easier, that time will be my friend. But time just moves the furniture around, it doesn't really mend. What remains when you are gone? Ordinary things that carry on. The shoes beside the door, the books you meant to read. What remains is everything, and nothing that I need. I'm not crying, I'm past crying. I'm just breathing room to room, touching everything you left me, carrying the weight of you. Your sweater still hangs on the hook, I haven't moved it yet. If I move it, then it's really real, and I'm not ready for that. The house knows you are gone, the walls have heard me breathe, but your coffee mug just sits there waiting. And I don't know how to leave this kitchen, this silence, this morning light, this life that was ours, now mine alone. What remains is the shape of you in every corner of this home. What remains when you are gone? These ordinary things that carry on. The shoes beside the door, the books you meant to read. What remains is everything, and nothing that I need. So I fold your glasses carefully, set them back just right, and make one cup of coffee in the quiet morning light. box last Sunday afternoon, laughing at something off to the left on an ordinary afternoon. I don't remember what was funny, don't remember who was there. I wasn't paying close enough attention, I didn't know to care. The last photograph, nobody knew that ordinary Sunday would be the last of you. We weren't saying goodbye, we were just living our day. I wasn't memorizing your face, I looked away. Your laugh is leaving me slowly. I know the shape but not the sound. I reach for it in quiet moments, but it slips without being found. I remember you love the window seat and coffee black at 9, but the specific way you said my name is fading from my mind. The last photograph, nobody knew that ordinary Sunday would be the last of you. We weren't saying goodbye, we were just living our day. I wasn't memorizing your face, I looked away. If I had known that Sunday was the last Sunday we'd have, I would have watched you more carefully, I would have made it last. I would have memorized your hands, the way you held your cup. I would have listened to your breathing, I would have looked up. But that's the cruelty of last times, they never announce themselves. You only know the last time was the last time, when there's nothing left. The last photograph, nobody knew that ordinary Sunday would be the last of you. We weren't saying goodbye, we were just living our day. I wasn't memorizing your face, study every line, trying to remember what the camera could never quite define. The warmth behind your eyes that day, the softness of your voice. I'd give everything to hear you laugh again. I'd give up every choice. This photograph of silence, it can't give me what I need. Just a moment frozen, just an image of a life that used to breathe. The last photograph, nobody knew that ordinary Sunday would be the last of you. We weren't saying goodbye, we were just living our day. I wasn't memorized letters every Sunday morning, like the counselor said to do. Tell you about the garden and the weather, all the small things I'd have told you. The maple tree has lost its leaves again, the Hendersons moved away. I watched that film you always wanted to on a cold November day. November letters, sealed and never sent, words that have nowhere to go. November letters, all the things I meant to say before the letting go. I keep writing to the silence, keep talking to the gone. November letters falling like the leaves I rake alone. But underneath the small talk are the things I really mean. The sorry for the Tuesday that I can't take back, the space that fell between. We argued over nothing, can't remember what it was, and then the world moved on so quickly, like it always does. November letters, sealed and never sent, words that have nowhere to go. November letters, all the things I meant to say before the letting go. I keep writing to the silence, keep talking to the gone. November letters falling like the leaves I rake alone. I said I love you every morning, but I said it like I have it, like locking up the door at night, automatic. Didn't have it, didn't have the weight it deserved, didn't say it like I meant it. Now I give my remaining years to say it and to mean it. The shoebox fills with Sundays, envelopes I'll never send, addressed to somewhere I can't reach you, where the living cannot send. I'm not crazy, I just need to finish what we started. All the conversations left half done when you departed. November letters, sealed and never sent, words that have nowhere to go. November letters, all the things I meant to say before the letting go. I keep writing to the silence, keep talking to the core. Like the leaves I rake alone. So I write about the puppies born next door last week. 3 of them are golden, one has got your cheek. I mean the way you scrunched your nose when something made you smile. I keep finding you in small things every once in a while. And maybe that's the point of this, of riding to the gone. Not to reach you where you are, but to keep you living on. In the worth, in the Sunday mornings, in the letters never sent, in the love that keeps on writing even after you were spent. November letters still falling, still falling. Looking at my father's hands, folded still and pale, the knuckles swollen from the years, each one a different tale. A scar across the right thumb from '87, I recall. He came home with 7 stitches, said it was nothing, nothing at all. Old man's hands, what did they carry through all those years and miles? Old man's hands built everything we had, from the hardwood floors to my first miles. Now they're folded, now they're resting from everything they gave. Old man's hands, I never told you what I see in every line and gave. These hands built our house on Miller Street. Every nail, every board, worked double shifts through winters when money was ignored. Fixed the car, fixed the plumbing, fixed every broken thing except the heart. Nobody told him how to fix everything. Old man's hand, what did they carry through all those years and miles? Old man's hands built everything we had, from the hardwood floors to my first miles. Now they're folded, now they're rested from everything they gave. Old man's hands, I never told you what I see in every line and gave. I should have held them more when holding was still possible. I should have said I see you, I see every scar and callous, every hero working worry. Everything you built for us, I see the love you couldn't speak, and everything you touched, but men like him don't need the words. Oh, so I always thought men like him just keep on building, and we take what fathers brought. Now I hold his hands in mine one last time, one last time, and whisper everything I should have said. Oh, there was still time. Old man's hands, I see you now. Old man's hand, I see you now. She left on a Tuesday in July. The roses didn't know. They kept on opening anyway in the golden afternoon glow. The neighbors had a barbecue the weekend that she passed. Children laughing down the street like beauty was built to last. She left in summer, cool and bright. The world kept being beautiful despite the sun had nerve to keep on shining. The garden had no way of knowing she left in summer. July stayed gold while I stood at the window cold. The coolest thing about her leaving was how the world kept on being. I couldn't understand the roses still blooming on the vine. She planted every one of them with these hands, not mine. How dare they keep on opening without her eyes to see? How dare the summer stay so golden when she couldn't stay with me? She left in summer, cool and bright. The world kept being beautiful despite the sun had nerve to keep on shining. The garden had no way of knowing she left in summer. July stayed gold while I stood at the window cold. The cruelest thing about her leaving was how the world kept on being. People kept on falling in love on the streets below. Couples walking in the evening, hands held soft and small. I wanted to go out and tell them, do you know how fast it goes? Do you know you should be memorizing everything God only knows? The evenings were the hardest, that long summer light that stays like the sun refused to let the darkness come. And in the days she loved the long evenings, used to sit out till the stars. Now the garden chair sits empty in a summer that is ours no longer. different golden summer, burning into night. She left in summer, but she left the roses. She left in summer, but she left the light. She left in summer, but she left the garden opening, opening into the night. We met when we were 23, married in the fall. 30 years of mornings, 30 years of all the small things nobody counts until the counting is done. 30 years of two became the silence left by one. I still sleep upon my side after all this time. 30 years of sleeping right doesn't leave with you in mind. My body won't forget the shape of how we used to be, still reaching in the night sometimes for someone who can't reach back to me. 30 years, 30 years, I forgot to count the gift. 30 years, 30 years of wait I didn't know I'd miss. The sound of you in the next room, the cold feet against my legs. 30 years of everything now, 30 years of what remains. I knew the way you cleared your throat before you disagreed, the particular way you folded things with such unnecessary need. I knew the smell of your shampoo without having to think, knew exactly how you take your teeth before you'd reach the sink. 30 years, 30 years, I forgot to count the gift. 30 years, 30 years of wait I didn't know I'd missed. The sound of you in the next room, the cold feet against my legs. 30 years of everything now, 30 years of what remains. We had a road between us, never sleep on anger's ground, always find a way back to each other. Before the night came down, we kept it. 30 years of the argument we had, we found our way back by midnight. Even through the bad, I'd give everything remaining, every hair left in my chest, to argue one more stupid argument to make up before, as they say, you don't know what you have until the heavens dawned. I promise I knew, but knowing isn't strong enough to make you stop and say it while you can. Knowing doesn't save you from becoming the man who stands in 30 years of silence in a house that holds your shame. Every move a different memory, every memory an ache. 30 years, 30 years, I forgot to count the gift. 30 years, 30 years of wait. I didn't know I'd miss the sound of you in the next room. The cold feet against my list. 30 years of everything. Now 30 years of what remains. The silence isn't empty. I need you to know that it's full of 30 years of you. And I would take it back every ordinary morning, every unremarkable night, every moment I took for granted, every small and passing slide. The silence where you used to be is the fullest thing I know. 30 years of you still living in the quiet of your go. 30 years, still counting. 30 years, still the found a photograph of us at 8, squinting in the somber sun, so certain of the world before the certainty came undone. A child believed in everything before the believing broke, loved without a second thought before the heart learned to protect its home. The children we were, where did they go? somewhere between then and now. The children we were, running without looking, did not know then what we know now. I grieve the child I used to be before I learned to be afraid. The children we were, so completely fearless, before the world taught us to be afraid. I remember crying without shame when crying needed done, laughing till my whole body laughed before I learned to manage and be known, feeling everything at full volume without turning down the sound, before I learned that being careful was the only way to stay on solid ground. The children we were, where did they go? Somewhere between then and now. The children we were, running without looking, did not know then what we know now. I grieve the child I used to be before I learned to be afraid. The children we were, so completely fearless, before the world taught us to be afraid. There was no single morning when the leaving happened, no day I woke and chose to become more careful, more weighted, just a slow accumulation of reasons not to trust, of love that taught me limits, of dreams that turned to dust. I didn't notice going, didn't feel the slow erosion, just looked up one November morning and the child was gone without commotion. Somewhere in these bones, that child is still existing, beneath the careful adult, still running, still persisting. But I cannot reach them through the years between, cannot tell them what is coming, cannot keep them clean. The children we were, still running somewhere. The children we were, still back in all those years. I'm sorry that the world required what it took from you in tears. I'm sorry that I traded your fearlessness for safety, your wonder for survival, your openness. For maybe if I could go back to that backyard, stand beside you in the sun, I'd say run, run as long as you can run before the running's done. Stay open, stay ridiculous, stay certain, and stay afraid of nothing. children we were, still running somewhere, the children we were, still I don't know when it happened, can't point to the day, but one morning I made coffee and my hands knew the way. Without the grief directing every single move, my hands just made the coffee like hands are meant to do. Grace is not the healing, grace is just the going on. Grace is not forgetting, grace is carrying what's gone. Not recovered, not restored, not the person that I was. Grace is just the morning coming, grace is just because. A neighbor's dog found me in the yard last fall, pressed his nose against my knee, said nothing, said it all. A song came on the radio that made me smile before it hurt. Grace arrives without announcing, in the ordinary, in the dirt. Grace is not the healing, grace is just the going on. Grace is not forgetting, grace is carrying what's gone. Not recovered, not restored, not the person that I was. Grace is just the morning coming, grace is just because. For my returning to who I was before, but that person left with you. I don't live there anymore. I live here in this after, in this quieter, smaller life, where brief has learned to share the space with ordinary light. I sat down at the table, first time and I don't know when. Just sat and ate my dinner, didn't stand at the counter again. The chair across was just a chair that evening for a while, before it was your chair again. But just for a while it was just a chair, and that was grace. Grace is not the healer, Some days the grief comes back like it never learned to quiet. Full volume, unexpected, like a sudden riot. I don't fight it anymore. I've learned to let it come, sit with it until it softens, until the worst is done. Because the grief is just the load with nowhere left to go, and I would rather carry it than let the love go. So this is where I live now, in the grace of just continuing, in the small and unremarkable of still being, still beginning. Every morning that I wake up is a morning I was given. Every breath a small decision to keep living, keep living. Grace is not the heathen, grace is just the going on. Grace is not forgetting, grace is carrying what's gone, not recovered, not restored, not the person that I was. Grace is just the morning coming, grace is just because the sun rose this morning like it always does, without permission, without reason, just because it does. And I stood at the window, coffee warm inside my hands, and breathed, and the world kept going, and I kept going with it. Not healed, not whole, not who I was. Just here, just breathing, just continuing, which is grace, which is